Put that kid in a movie. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back with Penn Jillette, a man you used to date, Robin. Right after these words.
Swish it all around.
Yes. Larry, what's Larry's last name? Pierce, right. Hey, Penn Jillette is here. Penn has done our show 1 million times. Haven't spoken to him in years.
He says it's every 8 years he's here.
Every 8 years. He's letting his hair down even.
I see.
He rarely
letting
does.
his locks flow like Samson.
He's like Samson. And still has one red fingernail.
Hello, sir.
Always.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Demarks his devil work.
I think I saw everybody else in the... Do I sit here? Is that what I do?
Where else would you sit?
I don't know. I don't know all the rules here. Every 8 years. 8 years and I've been on the show.
Now, are you dyeing your hair black?
Yes, of course, yeah. My hair's way gray. Isn't yours?
No, this is it. I don't dye my hair.
Not at all?
No. No, I do not.
Not a bit?
Not a bit.
No. How old are you?
I'm 54.
Yeah, I'm 52.
52.
But my hair is, I think, back to here, pretty gray, and then in the back.
Most
black.
people go gray in their 50s, at least by their 50s, but I am a genetic freak.
When you go gray, you're going to dye it?
I would, yeah.
Yeah, because you got face surgery, right, a little bit?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Was that a
sure.
good idea?
You know, it hardly made a difference. It wasn't dramatic enough for me. I expected to come out looking like Brad Pitt.
Backfired on.
It backfired.
I disagree. I think it did wonders for it.
I did some wonders.
That's why he has a job.
That's right. Well, thank you.
Exactly.
That would be the job description, right? Yeah. I think you look great, Howard. And boy, that surgery, man.
I'm paid to look ugly.
You're a piece of ass, Howard.
The act Penn and Teller has been around.
The little magic act.
How many years have you guys been together?
Not that anybody cared in the first few years, but it's over 30 years, like 33 years now.
Okay.
34.
And
now you're permanently in Vegas?
Permanently in show business doesn't mean much, but we're contracted at the Rio Harrah's through 2010, which, did you ever think you were going to live to 2010?
No, not at all. So what you're saying to me in terms of show business, that you guys, and tell me if I'm wrong, it's very expensive to put on your show at these different theaters. I used to appear, let's say, on Broadway all the time. I remember I saw you on Broadway. It was a great show. Why don't you do that anymore? Why Vegas?
It's very simple. Freedom and finances.
What do you mean freedom?
Well, at Broadway, our contract at Broadway said we could do whatever the fuck we wanted. Right. I mean, it just said Penn and Teller, it's their show. But you've got investors, and the investors have put up, $10 million.
Yeah. Right.
And so they're really nice to you. They like going, okay, you sure that bit's going to work? I like the water tank, but it's really... And
so they give input.
But they don't. Involved. They're terrified not to give input, but their very presence is input. Because you go, he wants to make money on this, and I don't want to fuck up. In Vegas, I really believe that my bosses, Gary Loveman, those guys that run Harrah's, don't even know we're there. They have
you have
so
your own
much
theater. It's called
the Penn and Teller Theater, and I mean this. I mean absolutely seriously, with no exaggeration. Once a year, one of our bosses comes in with like his kids, watches the show, comes back, says hi, and splits. And other than that, they do not know what's going on.
So what are you able to do now at the Penn and Teller Theater that you couldn't, let's say, on Broadway?
Absolutely nothing. There's no difference at all. It's psychological that you don't have to worry that you're letting someone down. As long as we have, 250,000 people a year come to that theater, no one's going to even pay attention to it.
Do you think that you have gotten lazy, or do you continue to update the show?
No, it's amazing. In New York, when we wanted to put something new in the show, there were crew calls. I don't want to get into union shit, of course. There were big crew calls, and we had to do our rehearsal out in Hoboken and move stuff in. Now we have a huge shop because of money.
It's dedicated to you.
Yeah,
you don't have to change the theater around.
So we've got 40 minutes of new shit going in our show in just like the next 4 months.
Wow.
It's stuff, and we work on it any length of time we want because we never advertise it. In New York, we'd have to say 37% new stuff to try to, but it's always different people coming in, and people pick up the vibe that if they come each year, there's enough new that they're cool with it. Because we might write 20 minutes of new stuff, but then we have to change other stuff so we can hide stuff in our pockets and stuff.
Now explain something to me, because I'm always fascinated by your rivalries. David Copperfield has, I guess he got into some trouble recently, right?
All I know is what I read in the papers.
You don't talk to that guy?
I used to talk to him once in a while when I did the Aristocrats. I invited him over to my house to see that, which you so should have been in. I so wish I could have gotten through to you then.
But wait a second.
And he came over for that. We hang out a little bit. But most of the time, he's touring. And now that there's this weirdness, I don't think he wants to talk to anyone about it until it's over.
It says here, as of 2005, Penn had a long-running feud with illusionist David Copperfield. After Copperfield announced that he was going to make a girl pregnant on stage without having sex with her, Penn responded, the only way Copperfield can reproduce is with a cheesy magic act. So you guys had that. So how do you guys become friends after such an intense, bitter rivalry?
Well, you know, here's what it was. I was always, and I think you, of all people, should understand this, I was always just fucking around, you know, having a good time. Yeah. And David, and I think just because of different personalities, not because of insanity, took it differently. And then he finally wrote me this letter that said, you know, dear fucking scumbag, died, just like this letter. And I wasn't sure it was really from him. I thought it was someone, you know, fucking with me. It came FedEx, and it was really just, I mean, aristocratic. It was just this pouring out.
So you called him and you found out it really was him.
I called up and I said, I got this note that I don't think's from you, but it's pretty funny. You know, it just said, you know, you're like a fucking crack addict. You tell me you're not going to say something, and then, you know, the shit you've said on Stern, the shit you've said, you know, everywhere. And this thing that I said here was I was being interviewed about a whole other project. Right. And they were doing one of those, you know, phone gangbangs. So like 20 guys interview you.
So he was mad at you.
Well, he was mad at me, but when he used to kind of say, you really shouldn't be doing this. When he finally said, like, you know, fuck you, you scumbag, and made me laugh. Right. I called him up and said, was this really you? And he said, yeah. And I wrote back a letter that just said, you are 100% right. It is true. I promise you I won't say shit about you, and then I do. And
in fact, David Copperfield said, he said this publicly, Penn invokes my name whenever he needs publicity, which is often.
Yeah, well.
We're actually pals. Privately, he treats me like a king. In fact, his nose is blacker than his fingernails from being up my ass for 20 years.
That is funny.
That's right. If his reputation were as big as his gut, he wouldn't need to include me in this press release. And then Copperfield went on to call you two guys, Penn and Teller, the Beavis and Butthead of magic.
Yeah, he did that a lot.
Yeah. So it's funny. You got your rivalries. You got to live with it. So now you're not in touch with him at all since these charges of him, the sex charges.
That's not, those are coincidental. I don't think they're cause and effect.
Okay.
As a rule, I see David twice a year. We saw him, he was honored. He was given, you know, Vegas Entertainer of All Time. Okay. And we were at that honoring ceremony and did a little trick and stuff. And that was, you know, 6 months ago. Right. And very cordial and very pleasant. We get along very well.
And Teller still does not talk publicly? He will not speak?
No, and the reason I'm here, not on your television show, but in New York, is Teller has directed a production of Macbeth in Red Bank, New Jersey. And I came out to see that last night.
Oh, so he's directing.
Not since Siegfried and Roy did Two Gentlemen of Verona. Not since David Blade's Hamlet has Teller's Macbeth bursted across the stage.
Was it good or was it boring?
It was, Teller, you know, since he was 16 years old, you know, has been obsessed with Macbeth and always wanted to direct it. So it had this really cool vibe of everything Teller ever wanted to do on stage. I mean, even the gates that are there for the gates of hell to open and stuff are like stuff out of his house. You know, for me,
but I couldn't
watch it.
How does he have the time to direct if you have to be in Vegas all the time doing your show?
We do 46 weeks a year. Okay. And we have been planning all our breaks for the past year so Teller can fly back. And he's directing with a guy named Aaron Posner.
How many shows a week do you do in Vegas?
We do 6 shows a week. It's a nice, easy schedule. I play jazz for an hour before the show. So I'm on about 3.5 hours. It's a similar...
What instrument do you play?
I started right when my mom died. For a lot of complicated reasons, I started playing upright jazz bass. And
you play for the audience ahead of time?
But not... there's a wonderful piano player named Mike Jones.
So before you come out as Penn and Teller, you come out as Penn...
Is there a different look?
I come out over to the side just playing bass without being introduced.
Oh, wow.
Now, are you dressed as
No, I'm not
Penn,
dressed like Penn, but I'm not like how you disguise it is. You know, it's it's fucking Sasquatch. Although one guy did say to me, came up to me while I was playing bass and said, are you like Penn's brother? Like, there's another guy that looks like this.
I like that.
And but I love, I wanted to know about jazz. I knew about other.
So when I walk into the Penn and Teller Theater, I see Penn, as I'm taking my seat, playing the bass with another guy.
With a fabulous piano player. And the piano player is so good you might not notice. Well, you might not notice the bass player anyway.
One last David Copperfield question. Sure. When you were friendly with him at that point, did you ever witness him raping a woman?
He used to invite us over for big rape time.
So you would go there to rape people?
Oh, sure.
You rape people as well?
You bring the thing, it was always bring your own cunt. You know, it was BYOC, so you had to bring. So it was always pulling up in the van to the 7-Eleven and finding the whore and giving her a Slurpee and saying, pretend you're being raped.
Bring your own victim.
I've met David Copperfield. It's hard for me to believe. The guy's an attractive guy. I wouldn't believe that.
He was supposed to be a woman, you know, like a
ladies' man.
Well, there's no doubt that Copperfield got laid all he wanted. And I don't think we know anything about this case yet. And I'm Copperfield never tried to rape me. And that most of the time I was around him.
Never gave you roofies, never drank with him, nothing.
No, well, I'm a tough person to give roofies to. Although
you have the long hair from the back. You can look like a woman.
And I have a nice ass. There's no doubt about it.
You know, I've heard Teller speak.
Yeah.
Oh, have you?
Yeah. You've never heard him speak?
I don't think so.
Yeah, he came on the show. He talked to me.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
He just sat there like a lummox.
Yeah. I saw a documentary
about... He's too small for a lummox.
A documentary about Houdini.
Yeah.
And they interview him, and he speaks, because I guess, Houdini obviously...
He knows a lot of the Houdinis.
Right, you guys have worked together so long. Is it true that you were once in clown college? Was that your history?
That's where he went to college?
Yeah, you went to and you were on the football team.
Football team at clown college, yeah. Right. The huddles were wonderful.
What clown college did you go to?
Well, Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey, greatest show on earth, clown college, sir.
So things weren't going great for you, but when you met Teller...
That's like the Harvard of clown college.
Right.
He played wacky tight end.
What clown did you... What was your makeup like?
I had to go to remedial makeup. I wasn't good.
Right.
I really wasn't good. I was brought on because I was a really good juggler.
Right.
So I was the juggling clown. And I don't know how much you know about the clown makeup, but my makeup type was called Auguste, which is the kind that has essentially the 3 white spots covered with a red around it. Lou Jacobs, who was the only living human being to ever be in a postage stamp, the clown, that was his style.
That was his style. So
although mine was horrible. I mean, I had to go...
You were a scary clown. I've never found a clown to be funny, actually.
You know what's really funny? They actually have... They've created their own language about...
Of course you have to have that. You have to.
Silly.
Of course it's silly. But
what is that makeup called again?
It's called Auguste.
Auguste.
There's white face.
It's like radio. Get the carts and blah, blah, blah. We have our own language.
It's
get the clock.
Auguste, white face, and character.
So
the Tramp, like Emmett Kelly Jr. or Edge in U2, are called the Tramp characters. And then the white face with a little hat is the smart clown, and the Auguste takes the fall and does the stupid shit.
I see.
So it's all very laid out. I learned this. They were classes and shit.
They released a study that said that children, for the most part, universally
100%,
hate clowns.
Yeah.
100%. They don't like them. They're scared of them.
I went. I was not living anywhere. I'd left home and I was just hitchhiking around.
How old were you?
I was 18. And I was the youngest one there, and I got in, I think, by the skin of my teeth.
Can you get laid as a clown, or was it very difficult?
I think, well, there's an expression in the circus that clowns and elephants will put anything in their mouth.
Right. Can a clown make a lot of money?
A clown can make no money. The money that's given at Ringling Brothers Barnum Bailey Greatest Show. And notice, they always say Ringling Brothers Barnum Bailey Greatest Show on Earth, because the one class they had in media relations gave us that you were fined if you said the circus or the Ringling Show. Right. You had to say Ringling Brothers Barnum Bailey Greatest Show on Earth. And if you said, where are you going? I had to say Ringling Brothers Barnum Bailey Greatest Show on Earth. So when we're playing out in Vegas, I always say the Rio All Suites Hotel and Casino, featuring Penn, Jillette, and the Penn and Teller Theater.
Old habits are hard to get rid of.
Well, it was really important to
That's
them.
Your WNBC. How we say WNBC.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
the right way.
Ringling Brothers Barnum Bailey Greatest Show on Earth.
So when you were a clown, were there hot girl clowns?
There were, but not for me. And not not particularly hot. You just have to say girl clowns. Clowns are a profession like magicians and like hairdressers and like interior decorators that are associated with being gay. Right. There are many, many gay clowns.
Clowns are gay? Oh, I didn't know that.
Clowns and elephants put anything in their mouth.
A lot of clowns are gay.
Many, many.
Right.
You know, but it is a stereotype. Within the circus,
so you were a straight clown and
as
women
straight as you could be with makeup all over your face.
Like my mom always told me I should take ballet lessons because I'd meet girls. Only girls take ballet lessons and gay dudes.
Right.
Maybe being a clown's a good idea if you're straight.
Well, I have a friend, and I guess I shouldn't say his name because I think his wife gets upset about this, but he toured the Ringling
Then don't
show.
say his name. No.
He toured the Ringling show for 3 years, which now automatically means she knows because she listened to the show. He toured the Ringling show for 3 years, and he said there are women, and I never came across these, but boy, do I want to know more about them. There were these women who wanted to have, you know, the Ringling Brothers Barnum Bailey Greatest Show on Earth show, they do, I think, 12 shows a week. Right. So there's 3 shows on Saturday, and the show's 3.5 hours. So you're in makeup from morning to night. And there were women who liked to have sex with clowns in the clown makeup, and it was a real, like, heavy-duty sub-dom trip.
Right, never happened for you.
So they would go, no, I never toured with a show.
Right.
So... I mean, not that that was the reason. I'm just saying that's one of the, there may be a whole bunch of reasons. Right. You know, I didn't have the right flowers squirting water out of my hat. But they would go out to the chain-link fence in the parking lots.
And have sex.
And put their cocks through the chain-link fence.
Really?
And these women looking up at their clown faces would suck them off.
Wow.
Which I imagine is probably the hottest thing in the world.
That's got to be great.
To realize it,
it's very perverse.
Very perverse. You've crossed the line.
I don't know
and
why.
If you're ever fucking a clown, you've crossed the line, Robin. That's the line. It doesn't matter wrapping your shit in electric blankets and stuff. Fucking a clown, you've crossed the line.
On this side of that line.
With or without makeup.
How much does the average clown make a year?
My information is useless because I went in 74. But in 74, it was about $300 a week, and you had to pay to live on the train and for your food.
Wow, that's not a good living.
Live on the train? Oh my God!
Well, you have to pay to live on the train.
So my point is,
and where you live in the bunks. It's 6'3" length and 3 feet wide, and you store all your shit there and sleep there.
Wow. My point about this clown college in your early years.
You have a point about clown.
I have a point.
How much of a loser can you be?
You meet Teller, your act becomes world-renowned. You become very successful.
Yeah, that period of act becomes world renowned was very, very long.
But would you say that you're in love with Teller in the sense that not physically, but I mean, do you love him like a brother? Do you love this guy? I mean, he is.
There's nobody, I mean, other than my wife and children that I'm closer to in the world. You know, he's been there for everything, but there's nothing to talk about. Remember, everything that happened to him happened to me.
Yeah, but wait a second. When you look at Teller and the experiences you've shared together, I'll give you a hypothetical. If you and Teller and your wife
were on a boat,
the boat is sinking.
Shoot Bush twice. Is that the punchline?
Who do you kill? Do you kill your wife? Do you let her die? Or do you let Teller die? How do you choose?
You can only save one.
I think there's a genetic... once you have children, there's a genetic thing that happens.
Save the mother.
You have to save the mother.
I don't know. One makes you money, one costs you money.
Exactly. But I think Teller dies. And
when did you get married?
Teller would agree.
That's how long I haven't seen you. You were such a bachelor.
About 3.5 years ago.
Finally gave up on Robin.
Gave up on Robin.
Right.
Which wasn't hard to do.
And it was a very, very fast. You know, everybody told me that my mom, before she died, said, because after she died, she didn't say anything.
She probably still talks to you. But
said, you know, that I was getting too old and too picky, and I'd never find anybody. And I did not want to get married till I met someone who was perfect. And everybody thought that was folly. And then I did. And then by the time I met perfect, you know, I wanted atheist, libertarian, teetotaler. I wanted someone that was all the faults I had. I had a checklist, a very important checklist.
Are you very much in love?
Very much.
Really? And you say she's a libertarian like you? She does not believe in God like you?
No. And all that stuff is really important.
You are also
pro?
Is she pro-guns?
Yeah.
She is?
Yeah.
Is she against global warming cockamamie theories?
Oh, I don't know enough about that. She's kind of in the same boat, but she's not buying it hook, line, and sinker.
And you're monogamous?
Yeah.
Sex
and
only
does
with
she
her?
run around the world looking at different things in the sky, you know, that happen, you know, whenever those stars fall or whatever?
What are you talking about?
You know, you have those scientist friends.
Oh, yeah. I sometimes go. She likes the scientist friends.
I want to meet her. I know she's here with you. I do want to meet her.
Yeah, well,
Would she come in and say hello, or is she afraid to come in?
I think she's a little afraid to come in. We actually addressed that. She said, "Can I go with you? Will Howard make me come in?" And I said, "I'd like you to come with me, but you don't have to go in if you don't like."
I would love to meet her.
I would love to meet her. Are you one of those couples now that has to do everything together? Are you constantly together?
I would like to be more of that.
Yeah.
But we have children.
I see.
So there's a certain kind of child.
You're into naming the kids the strange name thing. You almost have to do that when
you have to have celebrity children.
Well, you know, this is I will address that directly.
I mean, let me give you
your daughter's name is Moxie.
Moxie what?
Her middle name is Crime Fighter, and I will tell you why.
Stop it.
Her middle name is Crime Fighter because my wife does not have a middle name. She thought middle names were bullshit, and she said, we're just going to do Moxie, Jillette, fuck the middle name. And somebody said, well, why don't you just give her a middle name that means nothing? And I'd written a novel.
Right.
Called Sock, and in it I say, from now on, call me Crime Fighter. And our piano player said, call her Crime Fighter. And I said, it'll be great, because no one will know her middle name when she's a kid, but when she's pulled over, when she's 17, driving,
she'll be Crime Fighter.
The cop comes over and she goes, my middle name is Crime Fighter, sir. We're on the same side. And it already worked. My wife already got pulled over with Moxie in the car. Yeah. The cop came over and she said, this is my daughter, Moxie Crime Fighter. And he went, her middle name's Crime Fighter? I heard about this. And he goes, oh, fine, just keep going.
So I've always had a theory that celebrities want their children, in a sense, to be so special like that.
No, you're absolutely wrong. My name is Penn, okay?
Right.
I have always gone through, I met one other Penn so far in the past 10 years. I met one Penn.
That's
met
true.
one before that. The one Penn I met is one of the Bang Brothers, the porno guys.
Yes.
One of the founders. His name Penn something.
Legitimately his name.
Legitimately his name, and two N's. And
what is your son's name?
My son's name is Zoltan, which is my wife's maiden name.
Zoltan.
T-E-N.
He's like a superhero.
Zoltan.
Well, it's my wife's maiden name.
That's like a super criminal.
My wife's name was Emily Zoltan.
All right.
And
Zoltan.
My father-in-law had all daughters, and now he has a chance of having the name there, as at least it's a first name. And his middle name is Penn.
So his name is Zoltan?
Zoltan Penn, but he's called Z. It's called Z.
Z.
Yeah.
All right. And how old is he now?
He's a year and a half, and he's the size of Robin. He's the biggest fucking kid. A lot of times...
Will you teach him magic?
You can tell. Yeah, 1.5 of teaching him magic, yeah.
Are you going to teach him magic?
Now there's no shit in your pants. Now there is.
Will you teach him magic at a certain age?
If he wants to know, I will teach him.
You will teach him your secrets, even when you make the flower bleed in the shadow and the whole thing like that.
What about fire eating?
I think that's all up to what kind of kids they are.
What if he's not a weird kid? Like you want a weird kid. You want a special kind of awkward kid.
Doesn't everybody? I mean, not awkward, but I think you want. I think the cruelest thing you can do to a kid is name him Dave. You do. Saying to your kid, I want you to be in a class where there's 4 other kids with the same name.
Kids want to be the same.
I don't think so. Everybody I know that has a nutty name was very happy with it. No one complains. Yet the Mikes that I know, I was out to lunch in Vegas. 5 guys named Mike. There were 6 of us out to lunch.
You do have a
5 of them named Mike.
When I was on the air,
I mean, it's stupid to have to say, oh, Mike Jones. Oh, no, Mike Close.
I would have disagreed with
Moxie, we're okay.
I would have disagreed with you, but 1981, 1981, Frank Zappa was on my show, and Frank said to me, how you doing? I said, yeah, great. I'm about to have a baby, my first kid, blah, 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 blah. It's going to be a girl. I said, Frank, you're so great at naming kids. What would you name my daughter? He didn't miss a beat, and he said, Moldred. That's a name. And I looked at him, and I said, what the fuck? What kind of weird thing is that? And you know something? My daughter now is going to be 25 years old.
Holy shit.
And she turned to me, and she said, why didn't you name me? Emily said this. Why didn't you name me Moldred? I would have loved that name.
I said, you always change it now.
I said, what, are you kidding me?
I just think that... when someone named Bob names their kid a wacky name, it's very different than someone named Penn. I had essentially a girl's name. I was called Penny and ridiculed for that. And I still
call you Penny and ridiculed.
Sure.
Right.
And I absolutely loved it. I loved knowing that I could write my first name anywhere and I knew what it was. I loved that when I go to any sort of set, if there's 100 people around, no one else is named Penn. I have to wait, once in a while a kid comes to the show that someone would like hearing my name on a TV show and name the kid that. There's a few out there. But Moxie is a name that means guts, and it's a truly American word. It was invented for a soft drink.
Sure.
And Zoltan, I think is a weird name unless you know it's my wife's maiden name, and there's a respect there that I like.
I should plug you. I have a million questions for you, but check out Penn Jillette's Penn Says video clips on Crackle.com. See Penn and Teller's every night. They have their show at the Rio in Las Vegas, and you can get tickets by going to pennandteller.com. How did you like doing radio?
Well, at K-Rock.
How long did you... after we left the radio station, they went to a free FM format.
Yeah, they did.
And David Lee Roth was the morning man. Well, you were on for an hour after David Lee Roth.
Yeah, well, I don't think it was directly after, but yes, I was after. And
then you were syndicated to a bunch of other stations.
A bunch, meaning like 5, not huge.
Okay.
And I really, really enjoyed it. But I was very spread out because I was doing it from my studio, my home in Vegas.
That's a kiss of death.
3 hours time difference.
It's very hard to do a show from your home, I think.
And, well, that wasn't the problem. The problem was getting off work at 1 a.m. and starting the show at 9.
Was it too much, too many hours?
It was a lot of hours, but I really enjoyed, there's an intimacy in radio that well, I'm talking to the person that knows more about that.
No, I love it. I like it better. I like it better than doing television. I think it's just my thing.
But it was really the free FM vibe was they were trying to, and this drives me nuts. It's like trying to find who's the magician that replaces Houdini. Well, there isn't one, stupid, because Houdini was this special thing. And I think no matter how talented someone thinks you are, and I'm on the group that thinks phenomenally, still, that hunk of time that made you what radio was at that time, other things were helping you. Let's say you're 100% talented, and let's say your whole crew worked together perfectly. The timing was right. Everything else was working.
That's right. It's all got to be aligned.
Even if someone exactly like you, with everything else going, tried to come in after you, they wouldn't have done that well because radio doesn't do that well.
So what happened? Why did you... did they fire you? Or
Free FM kind of fell apart.
Right.
And they
Did
were
you stay for the whole ride, or were you out early?
I was out earlier than I was supposed to be out, but I stayed for the whole ride of Free FM. And I really did. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was really interesting to learn to be yourself for long periods of time because you can create a slight character difference, just a little bit off.
You understand what Penn is saying?
Yes.
That even I couldn't replace me right now.
Well, that's what he's saying,
exactly.
but I think that's ridiculous.
No, I understand what he's saying.
I understand what he's saying, but Howard is Howard.
Exactly.
And there is, there's a certain personal charisma that carries through for him.
I'm saying
that defies the time.
But without the name Howard Stern.
Were you controversial on the radio? Did you say things that got people angry? Now, there was one guy, one of your co-workers at one of the stations said he would pay one of the listeners to have you killed?
Yeah.
And he got fired.
He got fired.
That's not cool.
I believe it's I believe it's exactly like a hitman saying that. I never heard what he said. I knew
John London was the guy.
You made him disappear.
I had nothing to do with making him disappear, but they did.
Was there a prize involved if someone was to kill you?
I think it was a few $1,000s if you killed me, and a little more if you made it hurt.
But no, he's right, man. There's people listening to the radio.
What prompted the guy to do that? Were you having a feud with him?
I didn't know he existed.
Right.
But he knew I existed. He followed me at a small station.
I see.
And I would do my show, and then from reports, I've never heard him. He did his next 4 hours, he would pull clips from my show
and blast you
and talk about it.
Talk about ripping off Howard.
And that was all fine,
Right.
And he was a Catholic, and of course we disagree on that. And he went into this riff, which I think he thought was, I'm being a shock jock. Probably your fault if you dig in.
Yeah, but you got to know the line. You can't go on the air and say, I want someone to kill this guy, because there are nut jobs who will do it.
And I will also say that had I been still single, I probably would have done it head on and done TV shows and made press out of it, and also maybe even press charges or whatever, and just done it out. We had one toddler, and my wife was pregnant,
and that's when you get scared.
Her father called up and said, someone's threatening the life of my son-in-law. What happens to you and my grandchildren?
He didn't care about you.
Well, of course he did. But you know how that hits you like a fucking baseball bat? Because all of a sudden you go, oh, man, I'm a grown-up.
Right.
And what do I do?
Yeah, you have responsibilities.
All of a sudden, I just said, we're going to put security around. Yeah. Because,
Did you ever talk to this guy since?
No, I don't want anything.
Did you threaten to sue him?
Do you know what happened to him?
No, I wanted.
You did not. You just wanted it to go away.
I want to go away. And now Howard Stern's talking about it.
There you go.
But you know what I mean?
I was curious.
I like very much you putting I like you making it clear that
it's wrong to kill you?
That this is not the kind of gag you would do.
No, absolutely not.
And I mean, that's important, because I don't want...
no, that's bullshit what the guy did to you. That's a real bullshit thing.
But that's often what Howard Stern imitators do.
Right.
I know.
They go a place that we would never go.
You understand completely that I don't mind him saying he's completely wrong and he has no talent and any of that stuff.
Yeah.
You can even defend that as true in a court of law. But I think there are lines to be crossed, and it has nothing to do with freedom of speech.
I always wondered, I thought that you and David Lee Roth and a couple of other people, after I left the radio, I said, those guys must have been offered a bunch of dough. They were really panicked, ready to pay anyone they felt who had a name.
Yeah, I believe.
Were you overpaid?
I believe they offered. I was certainly overpaid.
Okay.
But that's only because I had next to no experience.
Right.
Of course, David Lee Roth had no experience.
David Lee Roth made $8 million.
Yeah.
You got
I wasn't paid that. The deal that I got that was astonishing was they let me do an hour a day, which is a bad idea.
Right.
It's just not the right length for a show.
It doesn't generate loyalty.
I really couldn't do longer. And
was it $1 million contract?
Me very well. Oh, no, less.
Less money than $1 million.
Yeah. I think altogether it was about $500,000, and then they picked up a lot of studio stuff, which I don't think is grotesquely overpaid.
Did you have an on-air partner, or was it just you?
I had Michael Goudot, who writes bullshit with us, sat across from me, and a couple of the shows I did totally alone. And motherfucker, thank these people again.
I'm very grateful.
I heard the show a couple of times, and I enjoyed it a lot.
Thanks.
Yeah,
thanks. It was putting a nut on the radio.
And now you are married. Yes, go ahead.
The thing that surprised me was I had no intention of ever taking phone calls. Like, I thought that's kind of jive, and who gives a fuck. And then I took phone calls, and man, I really like talking to people. I had never in my life talked to people before. Talked to strangers in kind of an honest way. And I had never, the first few calls I took was just like, yes, thank you for calling, and very polite and very New England. And then after a week, I started talking to them. I mean, there's no doubt who we're learning this from, of course.
But you said on your radio show that Mother Teresa... I've blasted...
Mother Teresa.
Mother Teresa's horrible.
Me too. I never thought she was a good person. I don't know what you don't like, but I know I didn't like the fact that she would go and advocate, not using contraception in countries that are overloaded with people.
Yeah, well, what's really wrong with her is people seem to think she set up hospitals, and she didn't. She set up places for the dying. And she says in interviews that she feels closest to God when witnessing human suffering. So to me, that sounded like a kink. Like she's going to these places, and we did for bullshit. And, of course, all the information on this is a book by Christopher Hitchens called Missionary Position, where he covers everything. He did all the research. I don't want to take any credit for it. But she just was into giving them a place to pray and die, and not into saving them. And in my morality, giving people a place to pray and die is better than leaving them on the street. But there was a huge amount of money that would be given to her that would then be channeled into the Vatican. And I found that not to be the kind of compassion I like. So the joke that I made was someone had done it was a ephemeral news story that Paris Hilton was going to be asked to play Mother Teresa in a movie. And I said Paris Hilton is too moral. to play Mother Teresa. She has never said, I like to watch people suffer. And liking to watch, saying I feel closest to God when watching people suffer is a level of creepy that even someone like me, and if you want to check my history on my web browsing, I go a lot of places.
Let me tell you something. A lot of people don't know this, and I think even Penn never brought it up. Mother Teresa used to host midget tossing parties. You know that's true, right?
I do know.
Yeah.
I do know.
So, well, you should be a fan of hers now that their books are coming out, that she questioned her faith completely.
It's really astonishing, and I got to tell you, and I know you said that jokingly, but the fact that she did question it made me respect the Catholic Church and her more. I always respect the Catholic Church, those who absolutely ascribe to it. The people that make me crazy are the people that call themselves Catholic and then don't follow it any more than I do.
Right.
You know, if I were a Catholic, you wouldn't catch me breaking any of the rules.
Let me ask you something. Sure. Now that you have children, are you more normal? Like, you used to wear a bracelet of human teeth?
Yeah, that cut my wrist is why I stopped that.
Yes.
I believe I will be more normal in a few years. My children
they get to be able to notice what you're up to.
Well, I think
as Zoltan gets normal.
Yes.
When did your kids have a vote on what you did?
It happened very early on. I remember I came home with blue hair and they began crying and screaming at me, and that was the end of that.
I remember when you said you wrote your book and you couldn't even display it. You couldn't even put it out.
That's when you write your own book and you're hiding it from the kids.
When did you have blue hair?
He did for
I
a
went
moment.
nuts. I said, I'm going to put some little blue highlights in. I thought it would look cool.
I had to have heard about this.
So I go down to this drag queen who decides to dye my hair. I said, just give me these little blue streaks. I get out of the chair after hours, and my entire head is blue, like a thick blue, like bright blue. And I came home, and my kids start crying and screaming.
Well, there will be a point when Mox and Z will be able to say, boy, you were stupid on that show. We felt embarrassed. And then I'll have to make a decision how much that weighs in. I mean, you can do the...
Now, what about the woman who met you and you fell in love with, who is so perfect for you? How do you meet a woman like this?
Artie's wondering.
Because Artie's trying to find
I need an atheist, too.
I found Miss Perfect. Robin found Mr. Perfect.
I did?
It's really... I did not find her in any way, shape, or form.
Were you worried that she wanted you for your fame?
No, she said magic words. She had...
Abracadabra?
Very close.
I don't want you for your fame?
She came to our show. She waited around after the show to chat and said, I was just having dinner with Richard Dawkins and Amazing Randy, and they said I should meet you. And I'd never met at that time. I'd never met Richard Dawkins, and he was the biggest hero I had.
Right. You're talking about Amazing Randy, who exposes charlatans and fakes who say that they're psychics and they're not.
And Richard Dawkins, who is the Darwin Chair at Oxford and wrote the book The God Delusion, and is a very heavy evolutionary biologist.
So she walks up and says that to you. That turned you on mentally.
Those were the magic
turned me on in that it got my attention. I wanted to talk to her more.
Physically attractive?
She's physically attractive. She had.
Right.
That's the easy part.
How long does it take you to get a girl like this in bed? Did it take you a long time?
No. Her initials, her name is Emily Zoltan. I call her Easy, which is her initial.
Right. So there's no problem getting her.
No, she was a grown-up.
And how long did you wait to ask her to marry you?
Oh, we waited until Moxie is a test tube baby, IVF.
Is that true?
Because
you could not produce?
Well, we could, because Z is not. Z is from fucking, and the very first time we fucked after having Moxie, the very first time, because once you do that, but she was 40, and I was 50, and we very much wanted kids, and the window was closing fast.
And so you didn't have to put on your clown makeup and put your penis through a fence? You didn't have to do that with her?
I didn't have to, but I still did.
By the way, Yucko the clown is on the phone. He wants to know where this fence is. Just give me 1 second. Yucko, you want to put your
penis... Give me the fucking address. I'm ready right now.
I believe the story he told was just, outside one of the train yards where Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey, Greatest Show on Earth played.
Let me ask something, because now Penn...
Okay, got it.
Penn had to go, I guess, jerk off into a cup.
Yes. Oh, and this is amazing. This is amazing. I will tell you.
You jerked off into a cup?
Unsuccessfully. I will tell you the truth. They sent me into the jerk-off room to jerk off into a cup, and they had posters on the wall of, very vanilla posters of who you're supposed to jerk off to.
Yes.
And every woman in the room I had a horrible fight with. Pamela Anderson was on the wall. She hated me. Elle McPherson was on the wall. In Chicago radio, she went off the show crying because of the stuff I said to her. And then Gina Lee Nolan, who was on Fear Factor, hated me. So there I am trying to jack off, and there's all women who I've seen cry and say, "Shut up, you asshole." And I said to my wife, all these women hate me. And she said, "There's posters on the wall." I go, "But they hate me." And
you don't understand. I've met all these women and they dislike me. It's unbelievable.
So you know, it was horrible. So we finally did it at home and brought in the sample.
That's right.
And then Mox was IVF.
And you will tell Mox she was IVF?
Oh, sure. She's a test tube baby. I mean, how can you be more wanted than that? Right. As a matter of fact, Moxie gets $35,000 less throughout her life than Z, because Z costs nothing.
Right. Moxie was $35,000 to produce.
$35,000 for Mox.
Right. So where is you? If I called her in, would she come in and say hello to us, or would she just run out of the door?
She said no.
She says absolutely no.
Are you going to beat her up? You're going to embarrass her?
No, I would be very nice. I would like to know how she fell in love with you and how she still feels about you. Maybe she's not in love with you.
She loves to talk. Yeah, and I just don't want. I don't want you, because you know you're familiar with being on the radio. You can hurt her, and I don't want you to.
I would not hurt her.
If I have your word on that, you can say hi to her.
But
do you want my word?
If she's not comfortable, Artie might screw up.
I won't say anything.
But if she's not comfortable, it's fine.
It's up to you at this. Emily, if you want to come in easy, you can come in. No kidding. It's fine. It's cool. I think Howard will be nice to you.
Safe.
I think I would be nice. And if I'm not, Penn can punch me.
That's not going to happen.
He's a big guy.
That could hurt. He's a big guy.
There is Easy. Where is Easy? I want to meet her. Very attractive woman. Hi, Easy.
Emily, this is Howard Stern.
Nice to see you. I'm just fascinated that you won his heart. I thought he was a confirmed bachelor.
And this is Robin.
Hi there. We just sort of saw each other. How are you?
That's right.
Me too.
You have to thank Robin because...
And this used to be Jackie.
You have to younger. Easy, you have to thank Robin because she passed on Penn.
Yeah. So I heard.
She could have had him.
Thank you.
He was taken with her a little bit.
Very much so. Yes. Very much so. I've told you how much I like
That's Robin. Right. Easy, did you give yourself to Penn?
If it gets bad, you run away.
Run out. Give me a sign. I'll cut it right
Run away.
Cut it down.
Does Penn let you get a word in edgewise ever at home?
Absolutely.
He does.
Yeah. He's pretty much a good husband, father,
good to the kids. Do you feel he'll allow the kids to be normal if they want to be, or is he going to insist on them being little weird kids?
Well, I guess normal means common, and I don't think they're going to be common. They certainly have different thoughts.
He wouldn't stand for that.
No, I don't think he's going to make them be that way. I think they're going to be that way, being around us
any rules,
and genetically.
Like, I mean, are they watching the same things that most of the kids do in their play dates? And, you know, do they play with the same toys? Are they hot for the hot toy, that kind of thing?
Yeah. We've tried to steer clear of TV and stuff like that, but Dora and Elmo have snuck into our home.
Easy, what do you do if the kids come to you one day and say, look, never mind you two, I want religious training. I want to learn. I want to join the church or a temple or something like that.
I'm changing my name to...
What do you do?
Ahmed.
We want to be Hasidim. What do you do?
Well, let me first say I think that's highly unusual and highly unlikely that you can... you're born atheist. You have to be taught that kind of stuff. So to be exposed to it even in school...
So you tell the kids there's no God. That's it. This is the way we do it.
Has God come up? I mean, I don't know.
They're 2.5. We're not reading Spinoza.
Not an issue yet.
Not 2.5. We're trying to get through, 10 monkeys jumping on the bed.
Penn, would you like to see your son or daughter take over your act, like work with Teller? I mean, you retired.
Yeah. I have nothing. I will also say that you know this, and you don't really ask the question from your heart, because if my daughter becomes a drunken, born-again Christian evangelist, I will love her with every cell in my body.
Your wife won't. She's not. You'll reject that child.
That'll make money. I see that. Moxie and Teller.
Well, how long did it take you to fall in love with Penn Jillette of Penn and Teller?
About a month.
About a month.
Yeah.
At first it was like, he's all right, but I'm not in love.
He was fascinating and charismatic, but
He claims your name is easy because you made love to him rapidly.
I didn't hear that.
Was it the first night you met him, or how long did you hold out?
3.5 weeks, I suppose.
3.5 weeks.
Because you were in a different zip code.
Yeah.
Guys always have to say that. He could have got. It technically was the second day.
You were there.
So you did hold out for a while.
I don't think hold out's the right word. It was just the right time. Everything was perfect.
And when you made love to Penn the first time, was it what you expected? I mean, the man...
See, this is where you can leave if you want. Who'd you think this fucking was? You're on with Larry King all of a sudden? You think you're on with some Bush League?
No,
this is the fucking pro. Next comes, when did you first take it up the ass?
Right.
And then comes, who else have you fucked? And then he brings someone in the room that you fucked, and then says blow them, and then brings in 3 strippers, and then puts it up pay-per-view. Look at it, for Christ's sake. He's on the billboard. It's Howard fucking cunt-laughing Stern. What the fuck? You think he's going to ask you what toys they play with? Robin does that to make you comfortable. Then he comes in and punches you in the cunt. That's why you shouldn't have come in the room. Go ahead, Howard. Have your best shot.
All right, here comes the part where I punch you in the cunt. Now, listen. Wow. You're right. Maybe I should stop.
Howard Stern?
Yes, I am.
Have you changed on Sirius?
Robin, scratch the toss salad question.
That's not going to come up.
It's so true. You're absolutely right. No, but seriously, when he... Was he the lover you expected? Was he the best you ever had?
Yes.
All right, we'll leave it at that.
Now we're going to bring in the black guy who said he had sex with you.
How many black guys did you have sex with?
Simultaneously, and here they are.
Really, we got them on the phone. My question really is, are you fearful of having a showbiz kid? I mean, here you are, you're raising your
That wasn't my question.
I know that.
That's actually the scary one.
Yeah.
Very much so. You know, I was raised lower middle class, and we have a lot of money, and I'm always afraid. I was raised lower middle class. How much money
do you have?
On me?
Yeah.
About $800.
You're a multimillionaire, is that correct?
Barely.
Yes, all right.
And
nothing like a successful man. Am I right, Easy? I mean, it's
Easy.
great.
You're calling her Easy.
Well, that's her name.
Her name's Emily.
That's right.
I am hopeful that because we live in Vegas in a neighborhood that isn't all show busy, and there isn't, like, you know, the Dalton School and that kind of stuff,
that they might grow up normal.
At least have the idea that money means something, you know.
Good luck.
I know. Well, you could tell me that. How was it for you? Because you have hundreds of millions.
No, I don't.
No, not on you.
Not on me. But no, you try.
I mean, was it hard?
Well, yeah, you try to keep the kids grounded and level-headed.
And they said, you know, did you ever say we can't afford that to anything?
And they laugh at me.
Yeah, right. You can't get away with that.
It was in the papers.
No, we do. We actually do.
Because they pay you hundreds of dollars for doing this.
I know.
I'm
making $100 right now.
$100. Just was saying that.
No, but you do have to. You have to.
What do you do? Talk to me.
You say, listen, we do not spend money on that. If you want something like that, you'd have to go out and earn that. Yeah, sure.
Are you like Kathy Lee Gifford? Do they have to give away their toys or any of that?
Please. Come on, you think I'm that well thought out? Come on.
They're 25. It's a different kind of toy now.
I just meant as they grow up.
On Hanukkah, they're only allowed no gifts over $1 million.
Yeah, and they're like, what job?
That's drawing a line.
What part-time job is going to get me enough money for a G4?
Are my kids fucked up? I don't think so. You know them, Robin.
They're beautiful kids. They're really nice wonderful.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's
easy to be with adults.
However bad I am, he's much worse. He's got at least 50 times the money. He's got a much higher profile.
And I have a horrible reputation.
Sure. You know
so if you can get through, can I?
Probably.
The thing is that is not the issue. It's not how much. It's the fact that you're famous and there is money.
Sure, but
because you see lesser stars' children becoming big stars just for showing up at parties and they're now walking down runways just to be photographed making sex tapes.
I got nervous once. The kids asked me for their birthday if I would buy them Vermont. No.
But wasn't your daughter going to do a topless thing or something?
No.
She was in a show, and she was trying her career as an actress.
But she's an actress.
She wasn't uptight about it, but then it got very heavily promoted.
And you said shit like that would turn into a whole different thing, and that must have been a tough thing.
That was
tough. And you
got
through it.
Yes, I got through it.
And I think being a parent is a tough thing. And the thing I have that you don't have is I'm way old. I was 50 when Moxie was born.
That's probably better.
And my mom was 45.
What do you mean? He's just too old to care?
No, it means he's a little wiser and probably a little less, I say a little less self-absorbed, and probably understands that it can't be all about him and his relationship or with his kids.
Was I was just sick of thinking about myself. I mean, my job was thinking about myself. It's fuck it. You need someone to take care of.
Really?
Right.
And I'm really enjoying that. Yeah, do you?
Yeah. She didn't go as far as the kids.
Well, now you also have a road comedian.
That's right. Well, listen, you two are a lovely couple. I like to see you married.
Well, you just did a Groucho thing? You're a lovely couple, but now it's time to play the game.
All right, now, say the secret word.
We need Gilbert here to do his Groucho.
Check out Penn Jillette's Penn Says video clips on Crackle.com. What am I checking out exactly?
I just, the radio show was fine. It took too much time. This is just the radio show, 24 hours. I turn up a video whenever I get an idea.
It's a website.
Yeah, it's all
your website.
Whenever you have a thought or want to say something,
I just say it.
I should take a blog, a video blog.
Sure.
Okay, Crackle.com for that. Also, go see Penn and Teller every night at the Rio in Las Vegas. And for tickets, go to pennandteller.com.
And I'm going to see you in 8 years. I'll be right back. Is that the cycle I'm on now?
You are invited.
Is that what rotation?
That's right. You're on the 8-year rotation. It's unbelievable. You're going to be sitting in the green room with Dee Snider. You're going to love it. That's right. And good luck with the kids.
Thank you, man.
And it's a pleasure to meet you.
Come back when Zoltan is dating Shiloh Pitt.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's right. And we'll grade you on how good a parent you've been.
I also want to ask you sometime, maybe off the air, but I want to talk to you about Tiny Tim. Because your interviews with Tiny Tim, I've now listened to all of them several times.
I love Tiny Tim.
And it's one of the most fascinating things. When all of your cynicism goes away and you're sitting there with him, it's the most fascinating time in radio I've ever heard.
I think that Tiny Tim was, I'm not making a joke, the best talk show guest that I've ever interviewed. People say, who's the greatest person you ever interviewed in terms of like a sheerly fascinating person? It was Tiny Tim.
And there's a moment when you back down to him that is one of the most beautiful moments when you make the decision that he should win on the when you said goddamn.
The Jesus.
Right.
Jesus
yeah. Well, you have to back off at some point with him.
But I know you. But you did, and I really liked that kind of shell of purity can't be beaten by show business skill, and you knew that. Well, and there was a politeness.
The guy was broken, mentally ill,
sure he was.
And you had to back off at some point.
Out of his, I mean, you've got incredible quotes. You know, Bob Dylan, the only real person I ever met. He was who Lenny Bruce was hanging out with the last few weeks of his life.
Right.
You know, everybody. Johnny Carson, the interviews that Johnny Carson has, it's a similar thing. The guard comes down and Johnny talks to him. But because you did longer, and because you were doing it when you were really on a rocket ship in terms of fame and had like the biggest swinging dick and all the power, and chose not to use that to beat him up, which is not just you, it's also Tiny. It's an amazing moment in radio.
You make me feel good about myself. Thank you.
It's an amazing moment.
Thank you for saying
He's
that.
He's going to go back now and listen.
And, they're really great.
Listen, easy. Put your top back on. If you don't mind. I mean, this is outrageous. You came in here all demure, and now you're whipping it off. All right. Penn, thank you for saying that. Thanks a lot. And great seeing you, and you two make a great couple. Check out Penn Jillette's Penn Says video clips on Crackle.com. See Penn and Teller, of course, every night at the Rio in Las Vegas.
Rio All Suites Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada.
And Ralph has a quick question. That's a good one. Go ahead. What is it? Go ahead.
Quick question. I think Penn's a really smart guy. I like that bullshit show a lot, too.
Thank you.
Who do you support for president?
All right, you got to make a choice, Penn. Come on. Don't cop out and say, oh, I can't follow this thing. Who is the person you're supporting? Don't give us a kooky answer.
Well, Huckabee's a bass player. We've never had that before.
I don't care what he is.
Either Hillary or Obama give us history. That's great. But I've got to say, even with the newsletters that are so horrible, I've got to go with the biggest nut you can have, give him the choice, which is Ron Paul.
Ron Paul. Well, I've been listening to a lot of stuff he says, and it's pretty intriguing.
He's not nutty. I mean,
he claims he didn't write those letters.
He did not write them. We know that for a fact. But still, if I had stuff back a while ago that had my name on it with racist stuff in it, I'd have to answer to that. And as much as I love Ron Paul and what he says, you know, if Al Sharpton ran for president, the stuff he said in the past comes up. It's got to go that way. But I love him.
I didn't even think about him. I saw him on TV about 2 weeks ago, and everything he said I agreed.
Why is it always the unelectable guy?
But he's not unelectable if we all vote for him, Robin.
Let's go right now.
All right. It's revolution love.
We'll be back right after these words.